Every year at this time, I bring this man on, Austin Arnold. He's not only an astute fan of the NFL, but he's an astute fan of the NBA as well. And we've sort of had this running gag on the show, if you want to call it, for the last couple of years, that Austin Arnold makes his NBA Finals prediction. So last year, sir, you predicted Clippers Knicks. Did not work out great for you. Obviously, some of that was injury control with the Clippers and the Knicks a little bit, as they fell down against Indiana. So I've been saying this year, I don't care what people talk about Boston. I don't care what people talk about with the Knicks. I don't really care what people say about the Lakers or Oklahoma City. In my mind, in June, at some point, the Cleveland Cavaliers will be raising the Larry O'Brien Trophy. They have been the best team in basketball, bar none, since day one of this year. This is not a fluke. JB Bickerstaff, oh my God. I don't care what he's doing in Detroit. He's literally the worst head coach in the history of basketball. I don't care. The dude cannot win a playoff series to save his life. He made us think Evan Mobley was a bust. He made us think Darius Garland could barely play basketball anymore. And this team came out this year with a mindset and a vengeance. And Austin, excuse me, all they're really doing is it's math. If they're doing the Boston Celtic way, if you have eight guys that can hit two or three threes a game, that gives you half your points to 100. That's really hard to beat every given night.
It is. And for the people that are going to watch this on video, you just saw me waving my
Yes,
Cleveland
sir.
Cavaliers sweatshirt because I do believe everything that you just said, Brandon, is so in fact true. I think with the Cavaliers this year, in the offseason after last year, I was saying if you're going to fire JB Bickerstaff, you better find a pretty damn good head coach because I didn't like the head coaching pool at that time.
I totally agree with you. I was
And
like,
I
Eddie
was really
Atkinson.
worried about that. I was really worried about
Yeah.
that. And to kind of go off that point a little bit, the two finalists, I even think I don't know if I came on this
It
show
was
and said, but
James Borrego, I think, and Kenny
yeah,
Atkinson.
it
And
was
I didn't
James
like
Parade.
either of them.
I was telling people, I was like, if you're gonna pick the lesser of two evils, then just pick James Borrego. And God, what would that team look like with James Borrego now? I
I
have
mean,
no idea.
you were calling for JJ Redick to get the Cavs job. I mean,
I, I
that's where we
was.
were at.
I was. But you know, Kenny Atkinson, man, all it took was him to get out of Brooklyn, which was toxic. They never gave him a chance. He went to Golden State, where he kind of refined his game as a coach.
And I think he watched that offense and said, "Oh, this works."
Yeah, and it's not the good. And the Cavs don't run the Golden State offense, like they don't, right? Like they are not like just chucking
I
and
mean, they kind of do. They kind of are. I mean, it's one dribble and shoot. That's basically what it is, or one pass and shoot, I should say. They,
I think that's more so Kenny Atkinson telling this team, "Hey, I'm empowering you guys to like shoot the ball."
I mean,
I
I think
think
it's the
more so
Boston
that.
Celtics motto. It's we have eight or nine guys that can shoot threes. Like I said, if eight guys make two threes a game, that's so you have what 48 points or something like that, close to 50 automatic. I mean, it's not that hard in today's NBA when everybody's all they're doing is shooting a free. I mean, you watch the Lakers. I think it was the game against Memphis last week. They had three mid-range jump shots the whole game.
Mm-hmm. And this Cavs team has just kind of defied physics from what they were last year. And I think that with bringing a guy like Kenny Atkinson, who I would like, again, when we look at the offseason last year, I was calling for the heads of many people in that front office. I was calling for the heads of JB Bickerstaff. Boy, have I ever been proved
Well,
wrong. The
I was
team is
calling for a
fantastic.
big move. I was calling for a Garwin move. I thought you had to
Yeah.
split Garwin and Mitchell.
Yeah. Like we have seen in the past, and your biggest case study that you can look at Portland Trailblazers with Portland
Yes,
Trailblazers with
yes,
McCollum and Dame. The two
yes.
guard system did not work for the longest time, but now it's working because your offense is now evolving. And for Kenny Atkinson to unlock the offense, and I think the biggest thing, not even the guard play.
Oh,
Evan Mobley looks
yes.
insane.
Is
That is
that
a
that
huge
and his
thing.
ability to finally be able to shoot a free, maybe not as consistent as you want it, but it is showing the ability to knock down the free has opened up the offense.
And the ability to just shoot it.
Yeah,
You don't have
yeah,
to make the ability to be confident in your 3-point
yep,
shot
yep.
is all I
Just
need to
shoot it.
see.
Yep.
JB Bickerstaff was not letting him do that. He
No.
was not. And Kenny Atkinson, the minute he got here, was like, dude, you can shoot the ball.
Yeah.
You've been working on your game. The you need Evan Mobley to space the floor in order to win.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. And with this Cavs team now, you're 53-10, I believe, and we're I think
Yeah.
19 games away
No,
from.
here's the thing. So last night, and I know you were working, so you really didn't catch the game, but they barely beat Charlotte, right?
Yeah,
And people on the internet do what the people on the internet do, and they complain and they moan. And I said, folks, this team is going to be the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. They are playing with their food right now. They could lose a game here or there. I know they have a 13 game win streak, and they have 3 separate game win streaks this year, which to me is the most legitimate stat. There's only been one other team in the history of the NBA that can do so. But everybody's that up in arms, saying they're worried about the playoffs and is this team going to be tough? I'm like, you know what the problem is, folks? We had LeBron James. And after we had LeBron James, we never have been a good basketball team. So this generation of Cavs fans, they didn't know what it was like to go through the 80s and the 90s and win a playoff round or two and have a very good team, but not a championship team. Like, we only know finals or bust teams. We don't know what it's like to go through a round where we're not considered having the best player in the world, I guess.
that is very true. I For most of my lifetime, it was
Right?
LeBron.
Like the fans
Like
don't
that,
understand what it's like to have a real legitimate team outside of having LeBron. So I think fans are panicking, and I'm like, no, what you're watching is real. I told a buddy this the other day because he was like, "Oh, I'm concerned we may lose to Miami coming off a back to back." I said, "I don't give a bleep if we lose 150-70 to Miami. We're gonna be the number one seed. The regular season's over to me. Start resting players. I know you got to win about probably 10 more games to officially clinch it, but you can start resting players here or there. Get ready for the number one seed." Like, and I told somebody this, Austin. I said, if we are legit, as I think we are, they should get through the first 2 rounds, bare minimum, 5 games each. Like, Milwaukee does not scare me. I don't trust Giannis anymore. I don't trust Dame. They don't play defense. Indiana, they're a good shooting team. They're not nearly as good as us. I would love if we could get a chance to play Detroit, though I don't think we will. And whoever we play in the first round, whether it's Orlando, Atlanta, Miami, we should theoretically, in my opinion, sweep. But if you want to give them one game at home when they're down 3-0, it's just a celebratory victory. Go ahead.
I kind of want Orlando in that first round, not trying to jump to conclusions because I want to vindicate to what I fully believe is that we were always the better team than them,
Well,
and I
it'll
want,
be a sweep. I mean, I
yeah,
think it'll be a sweep. And listen, Orlando's been injured all year. Like, I think Orlando's better than what their record shows. They just need to improve their shooting.
yeah.
But
And
yeah,
KCP going to Orlando has not helped either. He has been one
no.
of the worst signings.
I really don't care. To me, like I am literally waiting for mid-May. I am waiting for that Cavs Celtics series in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if you know this or not. I am not the biggest Jason Tatum guy. I don't think he has that dog in him. I don't think on nights he's one of the best players in the NBA. I think Jaylen Brown is the more clutch player. I'm not the biggest fan of those two as the best duo in the league, but I do think their team is so deep. But I think this year the Cavs are just the better team.
The Cavs have looked like the better team all year long, and the true test of time is going to be can they play with Boston in a 7 game series? I think we're all just kind of waiting for it at this point. Like you said, I think whoever they play in the first round, I preferably would like Orlando just to vindicate last year and kind of say that we were better. I also wouldn't mind Atlanta because I want to see us beat up on George Niang and Karis LeVert. I think it would be pretty funny to do that. But I think they should get through the first round in 4 or 5 games. In the second round, I'm maybe a little more high on the Bucks than you. I think when you have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the court, you cannot rule anything out. I think Giannis is a great player, and he always will be.
See, I feel like Giannis hasn't been the player that Giannis has been in 3 years, and he hasn't been healthy in the postseason the last two. Like I don't know what to make of Milwaukee. The Bucks have fallen off a cliff almost essentially since they won the championship. To me,
Yeah, and with them having Doc Rivers now, maybe I need to re-ingrain in my head that the Doc Rivers ceiling is the second
like
round.
like to me, if they were in the West, they'd be like a 5 or 6 seed, maybe even a 7 seed. Like their record is only that good because they're in the East. That's my takeaway.
I agree, and the East is weaker. I think that, in my opinion, I think the East has more.
So
They
so this
have
is
more
what I said.
stars.
I think the
They have more
Cavs,
stars.
I think the Cavs and the Celtics, without a doubt, are the two best teams in the NBA, bar none per conference. I think those two teams in the East are the best team. I think the West overall, like if Wemby was healthy, the West would be even more stacked. I think if you take 1 through 12 in the West, overall it's significantly better than the East. But I think the two best teams may be in the East.
Yeah, and you're definitely not wrong with that there, because let's take a look at the East. You have the Cavs, the Celtics,
It's
and
the
then
Cavs and the
everybody else.
Celtics. That's it.
That's
I'm
literally
not
it.
including the Knicks. The Knicks are done. The Jalen
Oh,
Brunson
they're
injury
cooked.
hurts them even more, and they weren't legitimate even before then. Detroit's a nice story again. Who cares? Indiana's a nice story. Who cares? Milwaukee, I guess like because of the Brunson injury, could Milwaukee move up to three? Like, could they give Boston maybe a better series than the Knicks? Probably, which I think would help us. Um,
Yeah, because I want a weaker team. I
yeah,
want a more tired
yeah,
team.
yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, um, so let me talk about this. We previously talked about the worst NFL trade in history. Let's talk about the worst NBA trade in history. It's getting worse for the Mavericks every single day. Um, at this point, like honestly, they could go from the NBA Finals to being in line for the number one pick in the draft. I am shocked with how quickly Luka and LeBron have worked in LA because I thought it would take some time. Just with LeBron being so on the ball and getting used to playing more off the ball. But this Lakers team, I look at them and I think, man, like there's only one team that probably could beat them in a 7 game series. It's Oklahoma City. Like I like Denver, but as great as Jokic was, and he had a 30-20-20 game last night at the time of this recording, ever since the championship, like they let so many depth guys go. I feel like they're very Jokic dependent now. And I don't know if you can win a championship with that.
Yeah, I think that I kind of have them in the same room as like Milwaukee, right? Like they have
Okay.
like one of those guys. Like they have like their Giannis, which is Jokic, and Jokic is 10
Yeah.
times better, by the way. He's in a class of his own. But when you have Nikola Jokic on the floor, I think you always have to have that team in consideration to win. And I think for Denver, that's where I'm at with them still. Yes, their depth is depleted. I think that while they're trying to go younger, it seems like, and they have a guy like Russell Westbrook who does come off the bench and he gives valuable minutes, and he's obviously embraced the role of being a player on the bench the past couple years of his
Oh,
career.
wait till the playoffs when the rush destruction starts.
Yeah. So I think that you can never count out Denver. For the Mavericks, I've said this to people behind the scenes. When all these injuries started to happen and it sucks for the players on that team, I would have effing canned Nico Harrison on the spot. I don't care about waiting until the end of the year. The fact that you traded away a guy who had you in the finals last year is ridiculous to me. And not only do you just trade him to any team, you trade him to the team that it seems like they always get the superstar for literally a bag of chips and an old Anthony Davis
Yeah, a
who
bag of beans.
cannot stay healthy. I feel bad for their fans. I feel bad for the players that are on that team, because now that Mark Cuban is not the owner of that team anymore, they're blowing it up. And it
Yeah.
makes no sense to me. Nico Harrison should not have a job. That dude should be gone. I don't know in what world you would think that you were in a win more scenario now
With
with
Kyrie
Anthony
Irving and
Davis,
Anthony
Kyrie
Davis,
Irving.
who were two of
What is
those
this?
injury prone
2016?
stars.
This makes no sense to
Yeah.
me. You must think it like, no. Nico Harrison should have been fired. Like I don't and he should be fired at the end of the year. If you don't fire him, then you're gonna lose a bunch of season ticket holders and you're gonna lose a bunch of fans.
I mean,
And
they're raising tickets. Did you hear about that?
That's insane. That like you should be lowering tickets to watch your shitty product on the court every single night. Excuse my language, but
That's
I
all right,
don't
final boss.
understand. Yeah, like I don't get why he would make that trade. If you're gonna trade Luka, you better be getting picks on end and Anthony Davis, a
And
max.
Austin Reeves. Like, I would have asked for Davis, Austin Reeves.
I
Like,
exactly. What the hell were they possibly thinking for only getting a first? Anthony Davis, who cannot stay healthy, and I'll give Max Christie credit because he can play. He's an all right bench player. He'll
yeah,
be a good serviceable player moving forward. I won't sit
yeah.
here and talk bad on him, but still, I don't know what their thought
The
process is. It makes no
the
sense to me.
the only thing I defended Dallas on, because I know other people say, well, why didn't they shop Luka around? In my opinion, that's the one thing I'll defend Dallas on. If you had let it leak that you were shopping Luka Doncic and not trading them, I think it would have been worse. I think it would have been a complete mutiny by that locker room of like, what the were they doing? Like, you might, if you're gonna do it, you have to rip the band-aid off without anybody knowing, right? So that's the only way I defended them was like, okay, I get not shopping around, I get finding a team, I understand somewhat the Lakers, but you still didn't get the value back is the issue.
Yeah, and I just don't understand how again, if I'm the GM, I think if any of us are the GM,
Yeah.
we're telling ourselves we're not trading him away.
Yeah.
Like even with the concerns of him drinking beer or being at hookah lounges or just not
Like
taking
Michael
stuff serious.
Jordan did that in the 90s and won back to back to
Exactly.
back championships. Like, come on.
Exactly. I feel like towards the end of his career he did that.
Yeah.
But like in the
No,
beginning,
he did it in 93 when he won the first time. That's one of the reasons
oh,
why he left.
I'm talking about like because like I know early in his career, like '84, he wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
But like later on, when you've proven to yourself that you can, you got a
Yeah.
little bit of leeway. Like that's what I'm talking about. Regardless, it just makes zero sense to me why Dallas would trade him. It like the I don't care what thought process or rationale you have. You traded away your future, you traded away your present, and now your team is going to be in the pits of hell for years to come.
So here's the thing. When Golden State acquired Jimmy Butler, I was like, it's a nice piece. I didn't think it'd make them a championship contender. But they're getting on again. Steph Curry as his number two guy, and playoff Jimmy can't come to play. My concern for Golden State is they may be hot right now, but unless they move up in the standings, like they're in line to play Denver or the Lakers in round one, and I don't think they could beat either of those two teams.
I think that if they were to play at Denver, I would be a little concerned. I think if I'm going to just say this right now for public record because like you were in when you were saying like I have like this shtick that I do every time I come on around this time with the NBA. I guess I can kind of reveal a little bit right here. I truly don't believe the Lakers are that great of a team. I
Wow.
don't. I
Okay.
don't think they're that great of a team. I'll let it be known on public record. I think that right now they're kind of going through that honeymoon phase of being a good team. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, they might win a playoff series, sure. But I think they're not getting out of the second round because they don't have a big. And I
No,
think that's
I
the
mean
death of them. I get their defense has been playing great, but if
that's a
they have
legit concern in a 7 game series. I think again, especially if they play Denver. If they don't play Denver, then they probably have a legit chance. Oklahoma City, I think is definitely obviously a finals worthy team. I just
That's my pick, by the way, out of the West is Oklahoma City. They are by
okay.
far none the best team in the
See,
West.
SGA is only their best player. I guess my concern is like Cleveland. I think we know, right? Where we have Mitchell, we have Mobley, we have Garland, Jared Allen. DeAndre Hunter can even score now. Like for Oklahoma City, outside of SGA, if Holmgren's not 100% healthy, the way he really hasn't been the whole year, they, in my opinion, do they have a consistent number two score?
They do, and that's Jalen Williams. He's a
Okay,
consistent number two
okay,
scorer. I
that's
give
fair.
Jalen Williams all his flowers in the world. I think I've been telling people this. This you might think this is crazy. I think the way the Thunder are built remind me a lot like the 95-96 Bulls because they have their super. You look at it like this. They play infectious defense. I think they have the number one defense in the league.
Mhm.
And in the 90s, the thing that was propelling the Bulls was infectious defense and superstar play. They have the superstar in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got guys who play defense with length and that can crash the boards. They're Horace Grant and they're Scottie Pippen or Chet Holmgren when healthy, and their Horace Grant is Isaiah Hartenstein because he can crash the board and get you about 8 to 10 rebounds per game. Then they have a consistent number two in Jalen Williams who can score at will. They have good bench players like Isaiah Joe who can light
Yeah.
it on fire from outside. I'll even throw Aaron Wiggins in there as well. He can get you a good couple threes a game. And I'm forgetting. There's one guy that I'm forgetting on their team.
Is it
That
Dort? Lou Dort?
Dort is another. Yeah, Dort's another guy that I'm forgetting. They're young.
Yeah.
They're vibrant. They have the build. I truly do believe that if the Thunder do not make it out of the West, I would be shocked.
So you think
That
it's
would
a
open my eyes.
so you
I
think it's the
think
Cavs Oklahoma City finals?
yes, I do.
Okay,
Best
see,
on best, and it would be best for it would be best as
I
the
can
five of
totally
us
see
would
it.
say. It would be best for business.
See, I can totally see it. I actually think what's best for business is Cavs Lakers. Could you imagine LeBron facing his own dumb team in the finals, who had been the best team all year? The Lakers, they go out and they get Luka, they make this run. Like I think it would be this series that saved the NBA from what's been a year of people talking about off the court stuff.
Yeah, I think that if you want the popularity contest, sure you want that because there is the storyline there and it is appealing. I'm just one of those people that firmly believe I want best on best. I don't give a damn about market size. I don't give a damn about the appeal of not having a guy like LeBron. I think SGA is ascending to a level maybe not like in popularity status like LeBron, but I believe SGA is ascending into superstar category areas where he is going to be a draw no matter how small the market is. I want to see best on best. And the best on best would be Oklahoma City and it would be Cleveland. The two teams who people may not like their market sizes, but I don't care
Yeah.
because they have been the best teams in their respective conferences all year long. Sure, you could throw Boston in there against Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City would wax them in 5. I think that if you want the best on best, where you can get every possible grain of great basketball play for their respective offenses and defenses, I think Oklahoma City Cleveland is the only option for me to really exemplify what basketball should truly be played like at the highest level.
So I think one of the big issues with the NBA right now is that, because of the 3-point shot, because of the evolution of it, everybody is essentially playing the same game. And, nobody's taking a mid-range shot. Everybody's shooting the three. It all looks the same. Players are taking back-to-back nights off. Load management. The regular season doesn't matter as much. The playoffs are a completely different sport. And the NBA ratings have been hurt because of it this year. And I think part of it is the NBA is still marketing LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant, and they're not doing as good of a job, in my opinion, at marketing the Jokic's, the SGAs, your Anthony Edwards, the future of the league. Excuse me, what does the NBA need to do, in your opinion? Do they need to make a major rule change? What do we do to get people excited about this product again from October to April?
I think a couple steps that I would do. Number one, as much as the iconic irony of it would be, I think you need to get rid of All Star Weekend because it's a
I
waste of time.
completely agree with you.
I think that it is now turned into something that it used to not be, and I think that it's kind of almost at the level of the Pro Bowl, if we even want to call it the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could
They
just
need to get rid
announce
of
the All Stars on social media, give it its own thing, give the players a week off.
exactly. That's what I would do. It is not worth my time to what, especially after the broadcast this year. I thought, God, that broadcast by TNT this year it was not good. I did not care what anyone said. Maybe it's because of the new TV rights deal coming in. They wanted to send a message. I don't know, but like again, they need to get rid of All Star Weekend. That's number one. I
Now,
think
would you get rid of the game, the dunk? Would you get rid of all of it?
I think the I think the only two things I would keep if you want to do something like that, because I genuinely do like watching the 3-point contest. I think the 3-point contest is like the only decent thing left. And like, let's be honest, Mac McClung
He's
is the
not an
whole
NBA player. Like that's my
like
biggest problem with it. He's not. How do you have an NBA All Star Weekend and you have a G League or the dunk contest? Like All Star Weekend used to be for all stars. Now we're letting rising stars players in. We're letting G League players in. We're letting guys who aren't all stars participate in the skills challenge and whatever. Like no, we it needs to go back to if you're going to keep this, it needs to be all stars only. And the other thing, for the record, and I've told you this, I think, multiple times, why do we let fans vote? Fans have bias. It makes no people that should be voting on all stars to me is media members, coaches, and players. Like, why are we letting fans triple their vote every day on Twitter or Instagram or whatever to get their favorite player in the game?
I hate all-star voting by fans in general. I think
I
that's
hate it.
universally I don't like it. I don't like it for the NFL.
I agree.
I don't like it for the MLB.
By the way,
I
for
don't
the
like it for
record,
the
I've
NBA.
never voted for All Stars. I've never voted for MVP awards because I don't think it's my place. I don't think I should be deciding these things.
Yeah, unless you're a highly touted media pundit or a coach or a player, I think those are the people that have the validity and the credibility to back up their vote. I don't like fan voting at all. I think if they got rid of it, maybe it would be a little more appealing for me. But again, with All-Star Weekend, it's become a mess. With the NBA, they need to cut down challenge times and they need to make it
30 seconds, max
it's got
total.
to be 30. If you can't tell it in that time frame,
Yes.
then I don't know what to tell you. You got to make the game a little faster. I do like the 82 game format. I think it's fun.
Okay.
I know that people might want to put less games on the schedule, and it is what it is, and I understand that. But I don't know. I'm an old head in that way. I like the 82 game format. I like the 12-minute quarters. I still like all of that. I do think you got to find a way to make it a little more competitive. I was saying that, and this is just a thought I just had right now. Why don't you make the shot clock like less than 24 seconds?
Like make it like what, 18 or just
I was thinking like 18. Like
okay.
18, 17.
Well,
Maybe.
I also like your
I
idea
think
that you told me.
if you make the pace of play a little faster, it would give a little more sense of urgency.
Well, you told me this idea off camera as well, and I really liked it. I think one of the biggest problems in basketball is the late game fouling and the foulsmanship and the
Oh yeah,
gamesmanship. With
yeah. Thank
the
you for
last
bringing that back
the
up.
last 20 seconds of the game, like even last night, the Cavs game, the last 20 seconds took like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. They were fouling every second. I
Yeah,
liked I liked your idea of, hey, you get two intentional fouls, and then after that it's a technical foul and you get two free throws in the ball. Now, will that create some less dramatic finishes at the end of the game? If you're down by five, you feel like you have a less chance of a chance to win, sure, but like your chance to win are already slim and none regardless. So why don't we just speed up the process?
I agree with that 100%. I think the late game fouling is completely ridiculous, and I get the whole attitude of
It's a
we're gonna
basketball issue too. It's not just the NBA. Like, that's a college issue too.
yeah, and I get it's a whole like game of chess at that point. You're trying to see if you can get checkmate in a very short amount of time, but the only people that you got to blame for even being in that position is yourself
Yeah.
because you didn't play good in the game and your team didn't play good. If you're going to go ahead and do intentional fouls, I think two would be fine. And then at that point, they need to start becoming technical fouls, and you're going to start giving the ball up because
Yeah.
I do kind of want to see more dramatic finishes in the NBA again. I feel like people are going away with that because they're trying to secure a win. Last night in the Cavs game, it was
I mean,
I
how
saw
many
the replay
intentional
about
fouls
that.
did we see in the last, minute? It was like six of them.
It's disgusting. I hated it. I did not like it. Just people want to go home at that point.
Yes.
Like it, like stop. Like enough's enough. You need to
It,
get rid
it
of it
gets
for
even
at least
worse in the
women.
playoff games, but these are West Coast games. They start at 10 o'clock at night, and people on the East Coast are up to 1
I
o'clock in
think
the
you know
morning.
what? I think in the playoffs, Brandon, if you were to bring that rule and bring it in, two intentional fouls, the rest are, you get free throws and ball back.
Yeah.
Playoffs, you only get one.
Ooh.
You get one because I want to see finishes that are good.
Yeah.
You get one intentional foul. That's it. Then you play defense. Play
Yeah.
defense. Play
Uh,
defense.
I'll tell you another one. Maybe we get rid of you have more fouls and then you get into the bonus. Like maybe we cut that down from 5 to 3, like in the normal time span, and maybe you limit it from 2 to 1 in the final 2 minutes. Like, what's stop awarding fouls and what start letting these guys play?
I agree. We do need to start letting them play, and I think that's kind of a reason why a lot of people aren't watching the NBA now is because of the amount of calls that are being made. And it's just it makes no sense why the league has kind of went towards a softer way of play because the fouls now would not be the fouls 20
I
and
mean,
30 years ago.
like Austin, I'll give you an example. So you know this. My show runs year round. I do a show Tuesday, Thursday. Outside of like August, I usually take my break in August because it's NFL preseason. Like I really don't feel like talking about the NFL preseason. So I take my break in August. But September to July, like I'm year round. From September to February, I barely talk NBA. Like it is NFL, it's college football, and it's wrestling. So that's my take. Is like the NBA now has almost turned into a 2 3 month sport before the playoffs, and we like talking more about this off court stuff than the on court stuff.
Yeah, they just have to find a way to make the product on the court better because I do find myself talking about the off court stuff more than the
Yes,
on court
and
stuff
and that's a
from
major
time to
issue.
time. Maybe maybe it's Adam Silver just not being like the God. I don't want to sit here and say he's the players commissioner, but I don't want to sit here and say that he's a tyrant either. I think he
But
needs to have a little more authority,
by
right?
the way, the other thing I thought of, tell me if you like this. Playoffs. We're cutting down series. First round, 3 games. Second round, 5 games. You get the conference finals and the final 7 games. We don't need a 7 game first round series.
Again, I kind of said it a little. There's some aspects of the NBA now that I am an old head about.
Here's
I
here,
think the playoffs
here's
should be one of them.
here's my takeaway
But
though.
but if we're gonna do that, I would just do it like you did in the '90s and make the first round 5 games,
Okay, well, and
and then
here's
you do the quarterfinal, conference final, and
so
then
here's my
final
takeaway. You
7.
you lower the first and second rounds. You give the lower seed more urgency, right? Because they feel like they have more of a chance. Excuse me, they could steal something on the road, whatever it may be. I also feel like, we have what? There's 8 playoff series in the first round, 4 in the second round, so there's 15 playoff series. How many playoff series do we get that go a full 7 games now? Two, three out of the 15 playoff series a year? Like that's my take mathematically. And most of them are in the second round, maybe if that.
Yeah, like you do get your occasional first round 7 game series.
Like Cavs Orlando last year. But
Yeah,
even but
exactly.
but
Yeah,
even that felt like it could have been a 5 game series. It did not feel like it had to be a 7 game series.
yeah. Just they gotta man, because like I see what you're saying and I'm listening to it, but like
Like let's create urgency for the playoffs because the playoffs take so long. And the other thing is, like the NBA schedule now is awkward because you go right from the finals. The draft is the next week. Free agency is the week after that. Like we have no time to really reflect on the season itself. I would love it if like the finals ended Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day could be like game 7 of the finals. Holiday, you get the big boost because the Eastern Conference Final game 7 is always on Memorial Day anyway. Like, why don't we shorten that and why don't we give these players June off, give more time for the draft, and give more time for free agency?
that's a good like that's a really good like idea. And I'm not trying to say like that they shouldn't get more time off. They should treat it like the NFL where they give their players time off to
Like,
reflect.
baseball always gives you November, December, January off. Basketball, especially in Olympic years, if we're in an Olympic year in the NBA, these
Oh
players
yeah,
get no time off.
yeah. Just take a look at Joel Embiid. He's not even
Yeah.
playing the entire year
Oh,
because
Joel Embiid should be a retired NBA player. What a
yeah,
disaster.
he's just a more glorified but better panning out Greg Oden at this point.
Well,
Um,
uh,
I,
uh,
I get
uh,
I get to see what you're saying.
like that clip from the Friends World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.